Hi class, this is Austin Hitchcock and my Capstone project. I'm going to be demonstrating to you how we cut in on a dark fiber ring on a Fujitsu network. So let's get started. First off, I want to show you guys a small PowerPoint. This kind of gives you an idea of the lay of the equipment. These are 9500s here on each side, and these actually go back to our backhaul of our network or to our switch. And then each one of these are called CDSs, and they're basically drops from that network to go to a router on each one of those drops. And what the purpose of this is so we can have a ring of even and odd VLANs. So if for some reason we were to get a cut somewhere in here or in here, we wouldn't lose service to all of this equipment. It would come back the opposite way. So that's the whole purpose of this ring. This diagram basically shows you which ports we're going to be connecting to today. I've had to do a little provisioning ahead of time just because of the simple fact it takes quite a while to get all the provisioning, and I couldn't get it all done in 10 minutes. I'm also going to give you a quick description and diagram of what the equipment looks like. So these are these are actually a test lab, and these are actually located in Dallas, Texas. I got with a guy from Fujitsu, and he allowed me to use this because of proprietary reasons on our network. They didn't want me using our network. These are CDS shelves. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one here. And these are 9500 shelves. These are basically the front haul of our dark fiber ring. They're long reach. They have much bigger amplifiers in them to be able to go distances with fiber, whereas these are short reach. These about 40 meters, or no, I'm sorry, not 40 meters, about 40 kilometers is all we can go with these shorter CDSs. So you want to have those in between everything so that you're constantly re-amplifying your fiber. The whole purpose of that is we're not paying anybody to have their equipment in line. We are running our own equipment on a piece of dark fiber. They're not lighting it, we are. And I'll show you how these interconnections end up working together. The 9500s are together on a WDM circuit, and the CDSs will be on a layer 2 circuit. So I will show you how we'll provision those here shortly. And here's what they look like all cabled up next to each other. This is the 9501, this is the 9502, and then this is CDS1, CDS2, and CDS3. So from here, what we'll do is we'll get into the virtual network and get into our Fujitsu lab. And from here, you'll see as soon as this populates, we'll have a few pieces of equipment on here, and basically what I showed you in the physical, we'll see in a virtual map, and then we'll want to connect the ring virtually so that you can see the cross connects between it. It takes just a few minutes to get into it. Oh, didn't like that. Try that again. But this program that I'm using here is actually called VNC Viewer, and it's allowing me to virtually get into their network instead of actually being physically connected to it. In my real world situation, I'm directly connected to it. So this does take just a few minutes longer than what it would if it was, you were locally connected. So when we get in here, you get a topographical map. Here's your tree view. These are the 9500s I showed you. Those are the front end of the backhaul. And there's basically going to be two, because you're looking at building a ring. So you've got a 9500 there and a 9500 here. Now these go back to the switch, so they don't look like they're connected here, but they are, because they're connected back through our switch. But for this purposes, they won't be. These are the CDSs. These are the drops. So basically, each one of these would drop to a router for you, give you up to 25 ports for additional equipment or devices. And we're going to go ahead and move this CDS to here, and we'll move this CDS to here so we can build our ring. So the first thing we want to do when we get into this is we're going to want to go ahead and select that we're layer 2. That's already been selected. If I go to a WDM view, it would show that there's a smaller ring already, because these are connected via 10 gig WDM, but we don't want to do that. We want to use a layer 2, because that's the kind of traffic that we're actually routing for this instance. So if I do a shift and hold down between these two, you'll notice we don't have any paths, and nothing is greened up as far as, having connectivity. So now we go up here to applications, and we'll go to data service, and there's your layer 2 interface, and create layer 2 interface. And so for this the layer 2 interface we want to do is we want to do a network interface, because basically we're configuring a physical interface between the two shelves. So that diagram I showed you, the first one here, so you can see that this is 118 is what we got coming off of this one, cabled to 125. Now in the real world, this would go through, to the ground. This is just in a shelf, so it's just a short little jumper, but it connects to 125. So then we'll go back over to here, and we know that this is CDS3, which is not what we want. We want CDS1. So if we look over here, we're actually connected to that by accident. So if we select that and go back and shift, that gives us a chance to look at just the two that we wanted to mess with first. So we'll go back to a layer 2 interface and create a layer 2. Now, if we go back up here and select network interface, there we go. Now we've got both of them up on here. So there's your 9500, there's your CDS. So this is the physical link we want. Now we know that earlier when I looked at that, it said it was on 18. Yep, so on 18, we want to select this to 18, and that has already populated as 1125, which is what we want. Now we need to go into the advanced on both of these, because we've got to change a few things. We want to change our ingress and our egress. Basically, this is burst sizes on our circuits. Normally we don't have to change this that often, but since it's a short jump, we do want to bump this up just a little bit. And then our inner and outer TPIDs. This is basically just coding, and we're going to make this a generic, just an 8100 for both of these. And you'll see on that one, it just has an outer, so you don't even have to do the inner on that one. So what we'll do now is we come back down here towards the bottom of this, which is kind of hard to see, but there's a create button here. And after we do that create, if we look out here, sure enough, there we go. We've got a nice even path going, and it is up and in service. It's green, it's passing traffic. So now we go back over to here, and we're going to go ahead and close that one. And now we want to build between this CDS, and this is another thing you can look at. So that shelf you saw, the physical view, this is a view of it if you're looking at it in the topology, but it's basically the same thing you're looking at if you were physically looking at it. Here's your fan, here's your two cards, versus if you looked at it in the physical. So there's your fan and your two HD12 cards there. Get out of this view here because we want to go back to the topology and do another segment of our ring. So we do a shift and we select again, and we want to quickly look at what our ports are between those two, which is 225 and 125. So we go back there to do that one, go back up here to applications and get into data servicing layer 2. And when we go back up here to interface type, we're going to do a network interface again. So we know it's 1225 of this CDS to, now see, this one didn't identify it, so we want to change that. We want to change that one to 1125 of that interface. And then we will come back down here to advanced. Change this back to 200 burst size for both the ingress and egress. Change this to an 8100. Same thing on this one. Come back down here to create. And there's that one. So I was planning on going all the way through, but you get the point that it goes from point to point to point. And basically, like I said, this just causes you, gives you the ability to be able to have a flow point between all these different devices. And if we have a cut of any kind, it allows us to go forwards to backwards with having a connection like that. Quickly, I just wanted to show you, because I'm already running over time as it is. If we get into any of these, I wanted to be able to show you the fault management. So like, so if you get into it, it will come up and show you, any kind of alarms you have on it. As of right now, everything is up and running clean because I have basically everything looped up. And it also does the same thing. You can drop everything down on your tree view as well, and let you know, if I was physically there, I could pull one of my fibers and I could show you guys that, this critical would come in and we'd lose a layer 2 link. But pretty simple little design, but definitely gives you an idea how a dark fiber ring works. And hope you enjoyed it, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.